Hello, I'm Matthew Malcolm with American Vineyard Magazine, reporting to you from Allied Grape Growers in Fresno, and I'm here with Vice President Jeff Bitter, who gave an update on the 2017 wine grape crop in California, as well as some wine industry trends.
The wine grape crop looks pretty good this year. It's based on our bunch counts that we saw earlier in the season, that we completed our bunch count survey back in May. The crop was down from last year in terms of bunch counts, but last year was a really high bunch count year, so it was easy to be down off of last year's base. Overall, as the crop size is up now and we see the berries starting to go through veraison and soften up, we're going to get a better estimate of what's really out there. But we think it's going to be average at best. That would put us at about 4.2 million tons of wine grapes in the state. Probably not going to hit that 4.5 million ton crop that people thought we might have coming out of the winter and having a good appreciation for the amount of water we had and all of that. The vines just didn't give us the bunches this year, I think, to get to that 4.5 million ton crop. So overall, kind of working from north to south, what we see in the marketplace is very strong demand as you are in the coastal areas. Lots of demand for Cabernet Sauvignon and Pinot Noir. On the white side, Chardonnay and Sauvignon Blanc are experiencing strong demand as well. Good prices. In some areas, record prices with regard to what we're seeing for Cabernet, like in Napa Valley, for example, and even Sonoma County. And then working into Lodi in the North Valley, definitely some strong demand up there as well. Again, for Cab, Pinot Noir, Chardonnay. The Chardonnay crop is light in the North Valley. It appears to be light. Bunch counts were down. The bunches don't seem to be developing to make up for the fact that there's not a lot of them. And so we have seen increased market demand for Chardonnay this year, especially over the last 2 years, with prices now even pushing up toward the $600 range, which we haven't seen in a few years on Chardonnay. Cabernet has been strong, mostly trading in that $650 to $700 range, with even to bigger buyers, and then even some special deals at above $700. So those varieties look strong, and those are kind of some kingpin varieties in the North Valley. Pinot Noir, again, strong in the North Valley. Pinot Grigio looks good, although we had a pretty good sized crop last year. There's more acres coming online of Pinot Grigio. So we've seen the amount of demand for that kind of flatten out a little bit. Pricing's probably going to remain mostly stable, but we don't see quite the competition in the marketplace for it today. And then the hot one that everybody's looking for is Sauvignon Blanc. That one's just hard to find anywhere in the state, particularly when you move out of the coastal areas. There's just not a lot of spot market Sauvignon Blanc. So a lot of buyers looking for Sauvignon Blanc. As we move into the Central and Southern Valley, there's much less grapes on the spot market available today than there have been over the last 2 or 3 years at the same time period. Going into summer months and into harvest, we definitely have a lower inventory, not just at Allied Grape Growers, but in general in the business. There's just as many spot market grapes. So there's not a lot of market activity right now, but it's mainly because there's not a lot of grapes available. The demand, I believe, is going to be there at harvest time for whatever grapes are, kind of hanging around. At that point, it's probably likely that the lower end of the market will be at a higher price level than it's been the last few years, where we've seen some of those end of season grapes sold pretty cheap. I don't anticipate seeing that this year. I think the market's going to clean up pretty nice. We're still struggling to get to a point where we can truly say that prices are sustainable in the Central Valley for wine grapes, at least on the spot market. But we're closer than we were a year or two ago. The market has been improving. We're finally getting our inventories into balance, and if we could just increase wine shipments at those below $7 bottle levels, it would take care of our problem pretty quickly. But that market's been a little bit stagnant over the last few years, and so we're kind of adjusting our inventory by actually removing vineyards. And we've seen a lot of removals of vineyards in the area of the Central and Southern Valley, and being replaced by almonds because of the profitability. So lastly, Thompson Seedless, just to touch on it real quick, that market definitely looks stronger than last year. There's high expectations out of the raisin business and the green side for increased pricing, for increased demand over last year. And so I do anticipate that we're going to see a stronger market on Thompson's. The crop certainly looks light. The heat spell we had in June was was very damaging to any Thompsons that were exposed and didn't have a good canopy, and so we definitely saw some crop loss on Thompsons during that heat spell. And so I anticipate the Thompson market to be a pretty solid market. And you know, I can't speak for the raisin industry, but I think there's pretty solid expectations of increasing pricing coming out of the raisin business, which translates into higher green prices as well for the amount of tons that end up being sold green. So overall, we anticipate a better year, a good year, but still a little bit of work to do to get to the point where we can say that, you know, it's truly sustainable to grow wine grapes in the Central Valley.
Thank you, Jeff. Well, we're looking forward to this year's harvest, as well as Allied Grape Growers' annual meeting just around the corner here on July 11th in Fresno at Pardini's, and in Santa Rosa on the 13th. I'm Matthew Malcolm, CaliforniaAgNet.com.